Hey everybody, it's Kyle. Coming at you live from my car. Sitting outside of swim practice. Oh boy. So, what is bugging me? Well, I actually recorded a special report on this weekend, but man, I was really super mega pissed off when I recorded it, so I'm not going to release that. But I do want to talk about it. I still want to bring the subject up, and that is the hate crimes against Asian Americans, culminating in this mass shooting that took place in some spas and massage parlors and stuff in Atlanta. I guess it was a couple weeks ago now, week and a half ago, something like that. Yeah, it's amazing to me that the dots aren't just straight up connected in this deal. Now, I know that the shooter has come out and said that he basically has a sex addiction. These weren't motivated by race, but his social media postings and stuff say otherwise. So I think it's probably a combination of things. I think he probably does have some sort of sex addiction. And I think he also likes to dominate women. So I think it's multiple aspects. I think he's a misogynist. And I think he also is probably a racist. Where am I getting that from? Well, first off, the thing that a lot of people have pointed back to and talked about is our former president using derogatory terms like the China flu and the Kung Fu flu when talking about COVID-19. So, in 1918, when we had the pandemic happen, and it was called the Spanish flu, because it originated, I believe, in Spain. I guess my argument with now, is nowadays and not using the Chinese flu, would have to do with the fact that I would hope that we've progressed as human beings since 103 years ago. But maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong there. It seems to me that if we know a technical term like COVID-19, and that's how the experts are referring to it and stuff, that maybe that's just what we call it, right? Obviously, calling it the China flu and the Kung Fu flu are jabs at Chinese people and jabs at the country of China in general. And there's no arguing that. That's exactly what was going on there. Anytime you would say, after saying those things, that you're not doing it to put down that country or those people, you're lying. You're straight up lying. The only reason you would call it the Kung Fu flu is if you're trying to be a wise ass about the fact that the flu originated possibly in China. So now let's go back before the shooting. There was a rise, like 140% rise in hate crimes towards Asians. And we're talking about little old ladies walking down the street getting pushed over and robbed. I mean, we're talking about old people getting beaten. We're talking about not old people getting beaten. We're talking about increased hate crimes towards Asian people who own stores and stuff like that. It's just so crazy, and there's video where Donald Trump was asked straight up about this. Do you think there's an increase in hate crime and attacks on Asian Americans as a result of you saying these things? And he's like, nope, I don't think so. Oh, well, I do, motherfucker. I do think so. As a matter of fact, I'm about 110% positive that your chucklehead, mindless followers are trying to make the big orange oaf happy. And that's bullshit, man. And when you are asked that, if you're a real human being that has a heart, you go, I didn't think about that. I probably need to quit doing that. I certainly hope I didn't have anything to do with this. That's what a real person says. That's what a real adult says. But we weren't really dealing with a real adult, were we? So there's been an increase. I mean, it's sad and it's depressing and it's ridiculous, It probably would have happened somewhat. There would have been an increase anyway, because it was widely known that they believed that the virus started in China. And, most people are too ignorant to understand that not everybody who's Asian is Chinese. There's also Japanese and Koreans and Vietnamese and Indonesians and there's lots of different type of Asian people, guys. So a lot of the people that have been attacked and hurt and stuff, and even, I think all of the women that were working in these spas and massage parlor places that this guy went and shot up are not from China. I believe most of them were from Korea, if I remember correctly. It's not the Korea flu, right? So anyway, it's just kind of ridiculous and it's very upsetting, and it just is it's another glaring piece of proof that we are an uneducated country and we are unable to think for ourselves and to understand things properly. Instead, we rely on imbeciles to give us information. And not always imbeciles. Sometimes intelligent people are giving us information. But I come from a world where I still respect doctors, okay? Because I know what they put into studying to become a doctor. Are there some dirty doctors? You bet there are, all right? Zero doubts about that at all. But people who are doctors and nurses and teachers and things like that, scientists, okay? Virologists, I mean, they put a lot of their lives towards education and being educated in their areas of expertise. And, I don't think you could pay me to be a doctor right now. I mean, it never really was in me in the first place, but because I think you have to kind of have a passion for it. But I don't think you could pay me to do it right now. What with all the malpractice suits and now with this sudden burst of not believing doctors. So I don't think you could I could be convinced to do it, but I do respect people who do it, and nurses and teachers. And I respect all those people. I think if we're going to call everybody who has been in the military a hero, then we most certainly need to think of people who have devoted their lives towards educating themselves so that they can help other human beings as heroes as well, right? I mean, that's just my opinion. And I just think that it's just follows a logical way of thinking. And not everything in life is logical, but it's pretty easy to connect the dots between the President of the United States calling something the Kung Fu flu and a bunch of white people in the crowd applauding and laughing about it as he stands there and says these derogatory things. I think we connect the dot between that and the other dot, which is the increase of violence against Asian Americans. Pretty simple, no-brainer, in my opinion. Anyway, that's something that's really bugging me and really upsetting me. And, that's a bummer. I'd say one more thing about it too. And I, actually I read an article about this and it made me remember some things, but I don't know how many of you know, but I did study Japanese when I was in college, and I'm not trying to brag or anything. I had to take a language because I was studying film and video production, and it's a liberal art, so you had to take a language, I believe, for 2 years. And so I said, well, I think I'll take Japanese because my favorite director in the world, and still is my favorite director of all time, is Japanese, Akira Kurosawa. Okay. And I love him. And a lot of the films that he made later were remade here in the United States. Star Wars, for example, is taken from his film called The Hidden Fortress. Essentially the same exact story. Okay. A little different, not in space and all that. He just put it in a different setting. George Lucas did. And then, there's the Magnificent Seven, which was originally the Seven Samurai. There's a bunch of them, man. You need to look it up. It's pretty remarkable. But, he really made a lot of samurai films. So anyway, I love his films, and I was studying film and had to take a language. So I took Japanese, and I wasn't sure how I would do in it. But I thought I'd give it a try anyway. Actually, I think you do know this because I talked about this on the last episode now that I think about it. And anyway, when I was studying all that, guys, I noticed something pretty quick around me. And that is that every other guy that I knew and it was mostly guys, by the way, that was studying Japanese had an Asian girlfriend almost immediately. It was remarkable. And it wasn't as though they were finding Japanese girlfriends to help them with homework and all that stuff. That's not what it was at all. I mean, they had, Vietnamese girlfriends or Korean girlfriends or Chinese or, and some did have Japanese girlfriends. But it was just pretty remarkable to me that I stood out like a sore thumb because my girlfriend was blonde hair, blue eyed American girl. And I did have one other buddy who is an Asian American, and his girlfriend was also blonde hair, blue eyed gal that he found, that he met at college. I think they ended up getting married, if I remember correctly. Hopefully that went better, but although I'm very happy with where I'm at now. So, but yeah, I noticed that. And it really, I remember thinking at the time that it was kind of strange how these guys immediately just went out and got Asian girlfriends. But this article I read the other day had a lot to say about that. And long story short, this is the gist of it. And I think this is probably correct. I imagine they came up with this theory through logic and connecting dots, right? And that is that in general, not all men, but a lot of men are they like to control. They like to manage things and control things. And I mean, I do too. When it comes to certain things that I do, I'm very much that way. I think most humans are that way. But when I'm working on projects and stuff, I like to control those things, as far as how things are going to look or sound and all that stuff. And so I get that, but I don't ever try and control other people. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. If you're shooting a video and you need somebody to repeat something or stand a certain way, you have to control that, but I'm more controlling what I'm capturing than I am controlling the person. They can leave and go, smoke a cigarette outside or grab a cheeseburger or whatever the hell they want. It doesn't matter to me. But anyway, a lot of men like to be able to control and have power over women. And obviously, I'm not telling anybody anything new. This is throughout the entire history of humanity here. Or else, how do you explain how women have only had the right to vote for about a little over 100 years? Even in our country, which I don't mean this in the wrong way, but they allowed African American men the right to vote before they allowed any woman the right to vote in the United States by like 100 years. So what I'm getting at is this. There's this ideology, this theory, and I think a lot of it is backed up by history and a lot of writings and a lot of activities and stuff, that Asian women are easier to control and manipulate and manage, and they're more subservient, and all that stuff. And there's a whole sexual tone to that. And I think something that we've all been taught are not really taught, but that we can plainly see, is the fact that, unfortunately, sex and violence are kind of close to each other. And it's kind of sad to think that that's true, but it is. And so I think that what this article was basically saying is that, yeah, one big reason that this guy went and shot up this place and all this stuff with all these Asian women is because he couldn't control these women. And the whole fascination with white guys and Asian women in general, not just white guys, but any guy and Asian women, is that they want to be able to control that woman, and control that woman does what they want them to do for them. That they're most important, right? So the woman does what the man wants. And so I think there's that whole ideology behind that. And it's not just Asian women, by the way. The whole Russian bride thing, which interestingly enough, with our last president, hey, but there's the whole mail order bride thing too. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but it's true. Like there were literal mail order brides kind of set up in the 50s, I believe, in the 60s, where there were catalogs almost with Asian women and sometimes Russian women and stuff, where it was set up through this system that the man would go over to Russia or to China or to Indonesia, Vietnam, wherever, and meet this woman and bring her back as his bride. And she was subservient to him simply because he saved her from having to live there. So I think there's something to what this author was saying. And I'm not saying that every guy that's out there that wants to date or marry or be with an Asian woman is a bad person. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying that it is kind of strange when you look at how these things pan out and work together, that there may be some truth to this whole ideology of Asian women like to be controlled by men, especially white men, it seems. I don't know. Really weird. So that all culminates, or that all, not culminates, but that all comes together in this situation where this man had this sexual addiction and had gone to frequent these massage parlors and spas or whatever. And, they're still investigating, but I know that I've heard that there were happy endings at these massage parlors and stuff that you could pay for and that kind of thing. And he was addicted to it. And he was addicted to porn too, like online. And I heard he tried to figure out the addresses of places there in California where this porn is made, and was planning on going there and killing people as well. So I think there's something to what they're saying, but I do also think that it does tie into Asian. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. But I do think this increase in violence against Asian Americans definitely relates to the whole Kung Fu flu garbage that was spewed in a way to try and be funny to our population. And most of the people at those rallies and stuff found that very funny, very humorous, which is interesting to me because I know there's some Asian Americans that are big Trump followers too. Kind of weird. Doesn't matter. Anyway, that's all I got to say on that. That was really long. Sorry, guys. That was really long. What's bugging me, but it really is bugging me. And it's bugging me because we're all human beings, man. Again, I'll come back to that. There's only one race on this planet of humans. That's the human race. Doesn't matter what your melanin skin level is or where you were raised, or we're all human beings. We have the same anatomy and physiology in general as everyone else. So got to get past that. I know we still have eyeballs, and we'll still see that people are a different color than we are. We'll still see people wearing different clothing and stuff, maybe for religious reasons, than we do. But at the base, at the bottom of all of it, we're still just human beings, all of us. And we got to move past this garbage. I'm not so great at it myself, man. I'll admit that. I know that I have open conversations with people simply to let them know that I'm friendly, man. I'm not anti whatever, and that's not a good thing either, man. I shouldn't even have to. I shouldn't even think that way, but I do because it's such a volatile environment right now. So, all right, that's it. I'm going to take a break real quick. I'll come back after the break, talk about some things that I'm into right now. I'm going to throw it over to Kyle. Hey, Kyle. All right, and I'm back. Okay, so what am I into right now? Well, baseball mostly. I mean, most of what I'm into right now is baseball. I've been watching a lot of baseball on this MLB.TV subscription that I ended up getting for the year, and I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. I definitely enjoy. I love working, having it on kind of in the background. Like I'll put it on my phone, and I'll have my phone sitting on my desk there while I'm working, editing and stuff. And I can kind of glance over every once in a while. I don't know what it is. I really don't care who wins that Atlanta Braves Minnesota Twins game, but there's something comforting to me to having that on in the background. I don't know. It just makes, maybe it does make me feel like everything's going to be okay because baseball, but, I've always enjoyed watching baseball. I mean, there was a long period where I didn't, but definitely in my adult life, I've enjoyed baseball quite a bit. So been watching a lot of that. I'm very excited. I think the Royals are going to be pretty good this year. I sure hope so. We'll see. Other than that, I mean, my wife and I have been watching Kath and Kim a lot. We love that show, man. I can't tell you guys enough how good that show is. They do have very thick Australian accents, and there's plenty of times when I don't know what they're saying because they're using, lingo that they use there that I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But they're very fun people to watch and listen to, and it's definitely a very funny show. I highly recommend Kath and Kim if you get a chance. It's a very good show. What else have we watched? I started to watch Justice League, the Snyder Cut or whatever, and I'll be honest with you, I fell asleep, man. Justice League just was not a great movie to me, and I know he went back and fixed it or whatever, but it really seemed, I don't know, maybe it was the combination of knowing that it was 4 hours and 2 minutes long and the boredom of the opening part of the film that just got together and made me fall asleep. But I didn't care for it, man. I don't care. It's a bummer. DC should be able to do better by Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and all these characters, Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg. They should be able to do better by them, and they just have not really been able to. I mean, Wonder Woman's been pretty solid. And I liked a lot of parts of the Man of Steel, but I definitely didn't care for how his Earth father died, how Jonathan Kent died. I thought that was really stupid. I mean, to me, there's no way on earth Clark Kent would stand there and watch his father die as a tornado hit the car. He would fly over there in a millisecond, save him, and fly back. When Clark Kent died of a heart attack in the older Superman films in 78 and 80, that made more sense because that's something that would be really hard for Superman to save, right? So something internal like that, it's almost impossible for him to save his father from that. But the whole idea of him being stuck out by that car and there's a tornado coming and him just watching, and that's ridiculous. Sorry. All right. Yeah, I didn't mean to talk about Man of Steel that long. But yeah, I wish it would be better by then, but it just doesn't seem to be. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. I haven't been a fan of everything that's Marvel either, but I think they've definitely been better at being a little bit of lightheartedness and a little bit of comedy in there, and, everything else that's happening and the stress and tensions and sadness and stuff sometimes, they're good at marrying those things together and delivering something that people can feel invested in. So I do like the Marvel films better. Okay, what else? Not really. I mean, I'm very excited for Godzilla vs. Kong. I've talked to you guys about that already. That looks great. I'm excited to see Mechagodzilla. He will be in there, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see, what else? What am I listening to? A little bit of everything. I mean, I think I already put up the pictures and everything of the Shooting Star records I got. Been listening to those. Really haven't found anything else. I don't need to find anything for a while. I have a couple records on back order that will be coming in. It's the second Sturgill Simpson Cut and Grasp album. It's the one where it's like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's volume 2. He's still sitting on a lawnmower on the front of it, but it's like kind of got a dark background. Like he's mowing the lawn under the moon type of thing. Pretty cool. I've listened to that album already on Spotify, and it's really good. So I'm excited to get that as well. And then I also have Mob Rules, the reissue. I don't remember how many years it's been, but it's a reissue, reprint of the Mob Rules album. It has some extra live cuts on it and stuff like that as well. So that's on its way, but those won't come for a little while because, they're either back ordered or they're just now printing them or whatever. It's going to be a bit. So, and other than that, it was fun to watch the Black Pumas on the Grammys. It was fun to watch the Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak deal on the Grammys. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm probably just becoming an old fart. I don't get a lot of the new music, but I could really care less about what Megan Thee Stallion creates, to be honest with you. I just don't see a lot of musical talent there. I apologize. If you can explain to me how great she is talented musically, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to understand that. I get Lizzo. She's a super talent when it comes to music. But Megan Thee Stallion, I just don't see much there. Sorry. And I like people that aren't talented musically too. I don't care for her music, and I don't know. I'd be surprised if she's writing any of it. Sorry, just being honest. When reading, I've gotten all caught up on all the comics I'm reading right now. I did start a new one. I think it's called, what is it called? Fear Case. And it's about a case in the FBI that everybody's given when they start in the FBI, and they have to, no one's ever been able to solve this case. It's been open for a long time, and so they have to try and solve it. But these guys are getting dangerously close, finally, to solving it. It's pretty wild. I like it. I like it a lot. Check it out if you get a chance. I think there's only 2 issues. Sweet Tooth, I'm all caught up on. That's fantastic. The Star Wars books, I'm all caught up on. Those are fantastic. I am still listening to that first Star Wars High Republic novel, and I definitely like it a lot. I did a lot of yard work this weekend and was able to really take in a lot more of that book, and I love it, man. I think it's a good story. It's very different what we're all used to as far as Star Wars goes, but it's good, man. Check it out if you get a chance. It's good stuff. I'm down with some new heroes and a new and different way of thinking about Star Wars. I really am. I love the Skywalker stuff, but it's time to move on. So we'll see how it goes. And that's about it on that too, man. Not much else going on there. There is a book that I do want to read. It's called American Dirt, I believe. A friend of mine on Facebook had just finished it, and it was recommended to her, and she's just gone on and on about how great it is. So I'm excited to read that. I may just suck it up and buy that one. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's about it, guys. Not much else going on. Sorry it was so heavy at the beginning on the whole being upset about the Chinese American attacks, but damn, man. It's really messed up situation. So I'll just leave it at that. That's it, guys. Take care. Be sure and mask up when you go out still, because it's starting to kind of rise a little bit. Be sure and get your vaccine when you can. And let's try and put an end to this deal, and let's be safe out there. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you take it easy. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. I'll be back in a week or so. I'm working out some things for episode 100. So this is episode 92. We're only 8 episodes away. But I've already got one special thing lined up, and I'll have some more here pretty soon. I'll let you guys know all about it as it happens. That is all I have for today. Take care. Take it easy. And, oh yeah, get off my lawn.